Good morning.
All right. Who wants to start off the morning? What are we grateful for?
Well, I have my first buyer's presentation tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Yay.
Met somebody at an open house over the weekend, and I had a very nice conversation with him yesterday. I'm going to meet him at his home tomorrow, and has a home to sell and another one to buy. And
Beautiful.
talked about the home, the home swap. I'll certainly, all about that. So see how it goes tomorrow.
Beautiful. Congratulations, sir. So wait, you're telling me open houses work?
They have for me so far. I love them. I absolutely love them. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Gone in about 7 so far, and I'm really, I'm really comfortable with them, and I find it, for me at least, I really enjoy meeting people that way, and I've had a lot of fun with them.
How many?
Love it.
How many did you say?
7 so far
Okay,
that I've hosted.
that's awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome, John. I tell you, if anything, it just gets you out into the public.
Exactly.
And you're dressed up and you're in a house and you're,
It's not my listing,
but I do people, and it just brings a different kind of energy to your business. It's almost like proof that we're in real estate, right? Sometimes it's hard to remind ourselves we're in real estate if we're sitting in a home or an office and we're not showing anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Good job. All right, who's next?
Hey, Bill, it's Markia.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. I had a showing yesterday, and I put a contract in, so hopefully it gets accepted.
You guys are making me proud. Congratulations. All right, let's hear one more. Kathy, were you about to say something?
Yes, I had a listing go live on Friday, and in the remarks I said no offer. Seller will review all offers Sunday after the open house, and we got 4 offers. We got 2 on Friday night, and then 2 more and under contract. And it's a full price offer, 0 days of due diligence, as is 0 days of, so it went straight to pending, 0 days of due diligence.
Wow. Good stuff, Kathy. Nothing stops us from doing that because, look, if you submit an offer, or let's say you list a property on Thursday or Friday, which generally speaking, I personally think is the right approach.
I'm sorry.
You could have every single weekend of your life sorting out, navigating contracts. Like, who wants that, right? Go ahead and say, look, this is a pretty home. It's well priced. It's in a good area. There's likely multitude of offers. So highest and best, or we'll be reviewing all offers on Monday morning. And then as soon as you get multiple offers, you could say highest and best due Tuesday morning, right? And then you can enjoy your weekend. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you don't have to stress about everything. You've already pre-written your email that says, thank you so much for your visiting ABC, 123 Main Street. We are in receipt of multiple offers. Our deadline is going to be Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Here are the things that are most important to my seller so you can understand this as you are crafting your highest and best. Number 1, the highest price. Number 2, the lowest amount of closing cost. Number 3, the tightest amount of contingencies. Number 4, the lack of request for random things like termite letters and home warranties and these kind of things, right? Clean it up. Clean offer. See what I'm saying? And then you end up working with these super simple offers.
Yeah, I put that, I put in the private remarks. Yesterday was my anniversary, so I wanted to get.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 35 years. So I didn't want to mess with offers yesterday. I wanted it done on Sunday night. So that's why I put in the private remarks Sunday. But but it worked for me. So it's, it was a good weekend.
Exactly. Life worth living, right?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Liz, you have something to say?
Well, I actually have a good thing. I'm going under contract hopefully today on a purchase, and I just got messaged twice 2 buyers want me to represent them.
Man,
Yay!
great job.
I know.
Great job.
But I do have a question. I don't know if you're ready for them yet about putting in the offer.
Sure. Let's take it.
Navy Federal is the lender.
Oh yeah. We were chatting about this, weren't we?
Yeah. Well, here's what I asked for a approval letter, and this is what they said. Navy Federal is asking for a purchase agreement. So I don't know if that means a binding one, and a notice of right to receive a copy of appraisal or written valuation report. So how do I get a notice of right to receive?
And that's before they'll issue a pre-approval letter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd
I may not
suggest
be
they
popular in
edit
how I
it.
respond to this question, but I'm going to tell you how I feel.
I have to go with this lender.
Pam, I feel like Pam and I were both
Yeah.
coming out with guns blazing at the same time. Okay, here's the deal. That's not okay. Okay, you want to work with Navy Federal later, fine. But I need a pre-approval letter before I submit an offer, or they're not going to acknowledge my client's offer. Not only do I need a pre-approval letter, but I need a loan worksheet because I need to know what the closing costs are going to be, or an estimate of the closing cost. So this all is in the best interest of our potential client, right? The buyer who's going to borrow money from your institution and who I'm going to guide through this sales process. So I would probably go back to Navy Federal and I'd probably say, you must have some type of template for approval to receive the appraisal. That sounds like something you could probably write up, but they probably have a template for that. So I'd probably figure out what they mean by that. That they're going to have to get it anyway, because they probably are just asking for permission from the buyer for them to be in receipt of the appraisal that the buyer paid for. So I'd say that's just a small logistical thing.
I was going to say, aren't they paying for the appraisal? Aren't they?
No, technically the buyer's paying for the appraisal.
The lender orders it, so that's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you would think that that wouldn't be necessary. That's just an example of a bunch of red tape that you're going to find with Navy Federal. Okay.
Well, I hate it because I have to use them because they have a 100% financing program, and I can't find anybody else who does.
I've
So-
used them before.
No,
They're
that's,
good.
is it a VA loan?
No.
So they're using 100% Navy Federal program. But
Yeah, I
it's
can't
not a
find
VA
another
loan?
lender that will lend her, that is 0 down payment. Kathy doesn't have one. I went to another lender and asked if they had one. I don't.
So I would go to the lender. I'd get the lender on the phone and I'd just say, look, I gotta help you understand how things work in Atlanta. Nobody is going to nobody is going to acknowledge your borrower sales contract or sales offer without a pre-approval letter. So let's just figure it out right now. What do you need to see so that you feel comfortable issuing a pre-approval letter?
Okay.
Okay, just cut right to the chase. And all that stuff that we were talking about offline, please. All that stuff that we were talking about offline the other day, about like, if this happens, then we're gonna
Yeah.
none of that should go in the contract.
Okay.
They're never gonna agree to that. You don't want to raise red flags before you even have a chance to get into the relationship.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's like going into a first date and saying, hey, I've cheated on my last 4 girlfriends and, I snore at night and, I don't cook or clean. Like, do you want to hang out with me? Right. That's just not a good start. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, I have a question.
Yeah.
Something that Kathy Ray said that I guess raised the flag for me. So I didn't know that the status changed to pending at some point. She said that she went straight from under contract to pending. When exactly are you supposed to put your listing as pending versus under contract?
So the way that that FMLS, has not always been FMLS's policy, but they added that status of active under contract. And what that does is, when you're putting a list, when you have a listing and it's active, then you have a binding agreement, you go into FMLS and you change it to active under contract. And then another question it asks you is, when is the due diligence period expire? When is it over? Right. So then once you complete that and you answer that question of when the due diligence period is over, the list and save it, then the listing appears as active under contract. So let's say it's an 8-day due diligence period. At the end of the 8th day, FMLS automatically changes the status to pending. So in Kathy's
So
situation,
I should go and check my listing to make sure that it says pending.
if the due diligence period is over, yes.
Yeah, it was like over 2 weeks ago. That's why I was like, wait, I never did that.
Yeah, so that should have happened automatically. But in Kathy's situation, there was no due diligence period, and so therefore she just switched it immediately to pending. Had she gone active under contract and put like that day as the end of the due diligence period, it probably would have auto-populated as pending.
Okay, thank you.
All right, cool. I want to remind people about, I want to actually ask you a question. I planned this without realizing it, but on Thursday, there is the One Thing seminar. Who's going to that?
Me,
Is anyone going to that?
me.
I am.
Okay, so
I
that
need
is
to.
from, it's what, from 11 to 12:30, is that correct?
Yes.
Let me make sure I tell you guys correctly. It is from, Pam, do you know offhand? I'm looking it up right now.
I don't.
What day, Bill? I thought
So
that
this
was in
is
a couple of weeks.
Thursday. This is Thursday. Shelter Home Mortgage is sponsoring the One Thing seminar. It's from 10 o'clock in the morning to 11:30. 10 o'clock to
I
11:30.
thought that was on the 18th for some reason.
It is. No, I'm sorry.
Stand aside. Come on, puppies.
Wait a second.
Because I signed up for something similar to that, and I thought
It is.
It is
Okay,
late.
I'm getting my events confused. I'm sorry. It's the business planning clinic with
Oh,
Jenny
yeah.
Berger. Okay, what time is that? Do we know offhand? That is from 10 to 2 on Thursday. 10 to 2 on Thursday. Is anyone planning to go to that?
I'm in Ignite, so can't do it.
10 to 2. Okay, I put on the calendar a event with Paul Tully. So Paul came to our PC group a couple weeks ago. He has been he has just made a great little business out of cold calling and scripts and dialogues and objection handlers and all that kind of stuff. And he was going to do a little tutorial and a little class with you guys to do some workshops and to drop some knowledge on you guys. And we had planned that for 11 to 12 o'clock on Thursday, but it is right in the middle of the business planning clinic. I am happy to reschedule with Paul, but I want to make sure that enough people show up for the 11 to 12 o'clock event. Should I reschedule? Or
On
should I
your
keep it?
on the. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. On your week at a glance, it has 2 to 3.
With Paul?
Yeah, that's what it says on the in the email. 2 to 3
geez.
scripts and dialogues.
Oh no, so that is that has a GLG next to it, but also on that day I should have master scripts with Paul Tully from 11 to 12, right?
I don't see that.
Yeah, I see that on your PC week at a glance.
Okay, good. So we figured that out. So it is on the week at a glance from 11 to 12 on Thursday. It now conflicts with the business planning clinic that the Market Center is putting on. I want to make sure that we have I don't want to dissuade you from going to the business planning clinic clearly, but if you'd like me to reschedule with Paul, I'm more than happy to. What should I do? If I don't have an overwhelming group of complaints, then I'm going to just do it.
I'd like to do the class with Paul. Like, I've actually really been wanting to do that. So I think I would like to do that one.
All right, cool. I will be, I mean, I've done a lot of business planning clinics with you guys, and I have gone to Jenny's before. I have all the material. I can kind of summarize a lot of that stuff for you. Or you could go to that and we could still do the event with Paul and you can just watch it after the fact. So let's keep that on the calendar from 11 to 12 Thursday with Paul Tully in this room. Okay. All right. Next is I want to talk about Bold 100. I want to give you, I know everyone's going to want to see these questions written out. Right now, they're kind of chicken scratched on my sheet here. Yet, these are some questions that we wrote down from, I think, one of the last Bold coaching corners, if I remember correctly, which are the 3 questions you can ask on the phone. And these questions will probably be used, or you should memorize these questions. And they can be asked during circle prospecting. They can be asked from database care calls. They can be asked in the line at the grocery store. They're just basically questions to figure out if the person you're in front of or the person you're speaking to could potentially be a connection for you, or somebody that you should nurture over time. Okay. I'll just read them out really quick because I want to focus on the objections today. But I'll send this to everybody a little bit later today. Okay. Number 1, have you or your family thought about making a move recently? Number 2, do you happen to know any neighbors or someone from church or work that we could be helping with their real estate needs? Number 3, when you think of real estate, who do you trust? It's another way of saying, do you know a realtor, or do you have a realtor, or who is your realtor? So again, when you think of real estate, who do you trust? More than likely, they're going to say, they're going to kind of stumble a little bit. They're not going to be able to rattle off a name. Well, I trust Kathy Ray. Great. Kathy Ray's an awesome realtor. Have a nice life. Right? Never speak negatively about another agent, obviously. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but please don't do that. Okay. Secondly, you would say, well, I wanted to know if I might have the right to earn that responsibility to be your trusted resource. Would it be okay if I stayed in touch with you periodically and just let you know what's going on in your neighborhood and the market? And if you need anything, I'll be here for you. Not particularly salesy, but very kind. You're coming from contribution, right? Compassion first, sales second, or service first, sales second. So you can mix these questions with what I think a couple of really good offerings would be when you are speaking to people during Bold 100 or any other day. These are things that you should be ready to spit off a link at any time, is being aware of what the neighborhood nurture program is and understanding how to set one up so that you can add somebody's address to command and put them on a neighborhood nurture. Hey, KW has developed this really awesome technology where we can send you a customized link where you can search for homes in a particular neighborhood, as many as you would like, and get updates on the sales activity in those neighborhoods whenever you want it. And we'll send you the link itself once every 2 weeks or a month. I just love some feedback on that. Would you mind if I set you up on that? Okay. Or sharing the mobile app. So I would spend a little bit of time learning those 2 pieces of technology. So when given the opportunity, you can share those 2 things. When you're on the phone and they're like, I love my house, I'm not moving, a great question to ask is, great. I'm so glad that you love your house. Have you thought about refinancing, or have you refinanced lately? Or when was the last time you refinanced? And they might say, well, I refinanced in, July of last year. Say, I would be willing to bet that if you spoke to a lender today, we could save you money. Would you be interested in a connection with a mortgage person today? Would you like to save money? That's an intelligence test, by the way. Okay. Now, I will send that pretty list of questions to you later today so you can have them printed and you can memorize them for the rest of your life and be able to recite them hundreds of times tomorrow, hopefully. Okay?
Hey, Bill, I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any benefit? Well, I mean, of course, it will be benefit to the client, but is there any benefit to a real estate agent to refer somebody to refinance?
It depends what you mean by benefit, right?
Like, do you get some type of referral?
The answer is no.
Networking, positive karma.
Right. I mean, the truth of the matter is people love when people help them save money, or people love when they do things when there's not an ulterior motive, right? So if what you mean is, will I get paid if I help somebody refinance? The answer to that is no. Will I deliver value and service to somebody who already likes me? The answer to that is yes. And will you get some positive results from that? Almost certainly, right? So plus, let's say what if you sent like a couple referral or a couple refinance leads to Kathy every month, and you sent a couple of refinance leads to another lender every month? What do you think? Who do you think they're going to send a pre-approval to that doesn't have a real estate agent, right? That's kind of like, will there be a benefit for introducing my painter to my client? Well, I don't know. You won't get paid to do it, but you'll put a lot of great energy into the world, and you'll then have one more person that feels kind of this, like, not pressure, but like feels this almost need to respond or return the favor, right? I just got a referral that we closed a few days ago. Pam closed it. That was a guy I took a dude to coffee like 10 or 12 years ago who was a financial planner. Okay. We went to one coffee together over 10 years ago, and I've actually done a pretty poor job of staying in touch with him, quite honestly. And he sent me what was supposed to be a renter that turned into a $500,000 buyer. Cool. Okay. Objection handlers. There is lots of objection handler scripts within the Google Drive. So I'd like for you guys to make sure you scan that list and print it out if necessary, and use this as script practice as well. Okay. Let's talk about what happens, why objections happen in the first place. Okay. If somebody is going to give you an objection, it is generally because they're getting close to being willing to work with you. They just have some unresolved questions. If they had no intention of working with you, they'd just wrap up the meeting and say, thanks for stopping by. And then you would probably think that you had a great appointment, and you'd be chasing them down for weeks and they never return your call. Okay. If they give you an objection, it's actually, I want you guys to think of that as a good sign. Hey, this is somebody who actually wants to spend a few more minutes with me. This is somebody who I might have an opportunity to help. We just have to resolve a couple of last minute questions or topics or issues. Make sense? Again, if they were going to blow you off, then they're just going to end the meeting, and that's going to be that. Okay. So oftentimes you are not going to get objections when your presentation is rooted in psychology and it fits the person that you're standing in front of, and you ask more questions, right? The more you talk, the less they're probably going to have fun. So if you listen to the buyer presentation that I did on Friday, I guess, with Kathy, if you go back and watch that video, I didn't say a thing about myself, right? Not a single thing. I didn't say, oh, I do this, I've been in the business for this amount of time. I didn't say any of that. It was all about Kathy, right? So the key to it all is asking the right questions. So you're in control, yet they're the one doing most of the talking. And if you keep getting the commission objection over and over and over again, then that's probably a clue that you need to improve your presentation, and possibly even bring up the commission before it's addressed in the form of an objection, by saying, and here are some of the things that I do that the average agent doesn't do, and then they won't question your value. Does that make sense? Like, very rarely was I questioned on commission, and very rarely was I questioned on my presentation or how long I had been in the business, right? I was pretty young at the time. Like, nobody asked me that stuff because it was clear that I was young. They didn't need proof of that. They just, I guess they were impressed with the way I delivered the message, and so they didn't ask a whole lot of questions about it, right? They had confidence in my market knowledge and my contract knowledge and my process knowledge, and they had confidence in the systems that I described were going to work and that kind of thing, right? So the first key to handling an objection is to what's called isolate the objection. So, for example, somebody give me an objection. Tawantis, give me an objection.
The commission's too high. I don't want to pay that. I don't want to pay 6%. I don't want to pay 6%.
All right, let me, Tawantis, what was yours?
I already have an agent.
You already have an agent?
I already have an agent.
Okay, so that's a little bit different because there's objections that you would possibly try to handle over the phone, which would be kind of one like Tawantis just said, right? If you already have an agent, like I might say, have you signed anything, right? Do you have a agency agreement that is signed? If the answer to that is yes, then I just need to get off the phone. That's what's called crossing a sign, and we don't do that, right? But if they say, no, I haven't signed anything, and say, are you still interviewing? That's a little harder to isolate because you wouldn't say, well, other than already having an agent, is there anything that's stopping up from me from being your agent? Like they'd be like, do you speak English? Like I told you I already had an agent, right? So you really need to, it's a different approach there. So if somebody says, Mike, or John, I'm going to come back to you. If somebody says, well, I already have an agent, then I might dig just a tiny bit more to see if there's an agreement in writing, right? Have you agreed in writing to have you signed a buyer brokerage agreement?
Okay.
Right? Or have you signed a listing agreement already? If the answer to that is no, then I might say, you know, I would love it, you know, it never hurts to have a second opinion. When would be a good time to sit down? Or are you still considering interviewing agents? I'd love to show you what I do to sell homes in, you know, for 3% higher than the average real estate agent in our market. Would that be appealing to you? Right? And then they are going to intuitively say, I wonder what my agent stats are. Yeah, I think I would like to meet with you. If they've got something in writing, back off. That is that is a very obvious line that we don't cross. Okay.
Got it.
All right, John, give me your objection.
I really like to sell this place myself. I've read a lot about real estate. I've subscribed to a lot of blogs, and I think I know enough to sell this place on my own.
Okay. Okay. So see, that's also kind of in the vein of Tawantis's, which is objections are, and I know you guys are just throwing out random ones, but that would also be one where I wouldn't necessarily, it's hard to isolate. You wouldn't say something like, other than the fact that you want to sell the home yourself, is there anything that's preventing you from working with me? That's also strange, right? So I might say to you, so tell me, I'm trying to set up a good context where you might have actually said something like that, right? Like I'm calling you as a FSBO and I say, you know, can I show you, can I meet with you in, you know, 15 or 30 minutes and show you what I can do to get your home sold? And you say, well, I want to sell the home, or you want to sell the home yourself, right? And I say, that's great, John. I can totally appreciate that. So let me ask you, where are you planning to move to? So then I'd start getting you to talk about your motivation and your goals.
Okay.
Right. Oh, you want to move to Chicago? Great. When do you have to be there by? Right. What's in Chicago? Is it, you know, you going closer to family? Is it for a new job? Is it because you like that area? Like, let's get you kind of in a new mindset around being in Chicago. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is, after I get clear on what your motivation is, and I'm, hey, so tell me, when your family's in Chicago and you're closer to your ailing mother and your kids in the great school district, what does that do for your family? And you're like, oh, it just makes, you know, it's so much easier to do stuff around the house because we have some more support, and the kids in a better school district and they're not getting bullied. Wow. Doesn't your family deserve that? Yeah, our family does deserve that. All right, John. So let me ask you a couple questions. tell me a little bit about what's your experience been thus far? Have you had any offers on your property? No, haven't had any offers on the property. No offers on the property, huh? Wow. Have you had any showings? Right. And I'm being like, I'm acting a little bit, but that's what we do, right? We want to make the great look greater and make the crappy look crappier sometimes, right? So John, so you've had 2 showings, is that right? And how long has your home been on the market?
Over a month.
Over a month, really. You know, John, would it surprise you to know that the average property in Metro Atlanta right now is selling for 99.7% of list price? And if the home does not need a price reduction, it's selling in an average of 6 days.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No. Nope.
Wow.
Wow.
So tell me, is there anything in particular that you think is preventing your home from selling?
No, I did all the research. I spoke to neighbors. I read all the blogs. I thought I had a good idea of the market. And no, but nothing, not too much activity yet.
Okay. And do you have a time period in your mind for how long you might wait before you hired a professional real estate agent like myself?
No, my wife is really getting on me to move soon. We would have liked to have moved in the next few weeks. I mean, yeah, she's really getting on me. So I may have to think about that.
Okay. And when it comes to real estate, who do you trust?
Well, I had a friend of a friend who helped me a little bit early on. He gave me some advice. It doesn't kind of seem to be working. There's nobody really who, I still think I could do it myself, but I don't know. It's been sitting there for a while now, so I'm not sure at this point.
I got you. So John, let me ask you, what is the single biggest advantage to trying to sell your home by yourself?
Well, save money. My gosh, 6%. I mean, I'm listing the house at 400,000. That's $24,000. That's a big chunk of change.
Well, of course, but you're honoring a buyer's agent commission, right?
I'm sorry?
Meaning you would be willing to pay an agent to represent the buyer in the transaction. You just simply want to save your agent's commission, right?
Right. So half of that. So the 3%. So it's still $12,000.
Okay. So we want to make sure they're talking about the same real stuff, right? It's not a $24,000 problem. It's a $12,000 problem. Okay. So John, I completely understand that. Let me ask you, do you think that, let me see which direction I want to go with this. Are you aware that the average home that is sold by a for sale by owner sells for 10% less than a home that is sold through a professional real estate agent? Were you aware of that statistic? Did you come across that in any of the blogs that you were reading?
No, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. I thought it was a really good way just to save money, do things by yourself, and save a lot of money. No.
Okay. So are you planning to hire an attorney to write up the contract for you? And, tell me a little bit about what your plan with respect to your protection is going to be. How do you make sure that you're protected?
Oh, I thought I would do a lot of that myself. I thought I can kind of, just reach out as I went along and kind of, again, just saving money here and there. It all adds up.
Right. So, John, do you mind if I share the types of buyers that typically approach a for sale by owner with you?
Sure.
So generally there is the type of buyer that is in a hurry and they're motivated, right? They're coming to Atlanta. They need to find a home in a weekend. Okay. Those agents or those buyers are typically working with a real estate agent, and the real estate agent is logging their needs and wants into the computer and the MLS, and they're going to look at the homes that are already listed on the market. Would you assume that they're not driving up and down streets looking for sale by owners? Is that fair to say?
No, I agree. I'll agree with that, Bill.
Okay. Now, same thing. There's another type of buyer that they're super motivated and they're able to purchase homes, yet they need a lot of hand-holding, and so they're also working with agents, and the same thing's going to happen. They're even though they're taking it a little slower, the agent is not driving up and down, nor is the buyer driving up and down looking for sale by owners. They're looking in the multiple listing service and all the websites. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah. And I found a couple of people that have actually come to my house. Yeah, I've really had to give them a lot more service than I would have liked to. I really kind of thought that they would just kind of come in and just make the transaction and save a lot of money. And yeah, I'm finding I'm doing a lot more work than I thought I'd have to do.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite part about being a realtor, John?
Really not. Really nothing favorite about it. It's been a little more stress than I thought it would be.
What's your least favorite part about being a real estate agent?
Just having to deal with the people and not knowing where they're coming from, if they can even afford my home.
Yeah,
And
that's actually the next thing I was going to say, because there's only two other types of buyers that are going to be coming to you. One is investors, and they're prying on people like yourself who are unrepresented. And there's a good chance that they could take advantage of you or cause you to sell the home for less than it's worth. Have you encountered any investors yet?
Yes, I have actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I hear that. So, and you know who the fourth, so you got to be really careful with those people, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. There's a lot of risk that you could be taking on by entering into an agreement with an investor. And you know, John, you mentioned it before, the fourth type of person that could be interested in a for sale by owner is unqualified buyers, right? They want to work with a real estate agent. They really do. But then they get asked by the real estate agent, hey, have you spoken to a lender? Where's your pre-approval? And no real estate agent wants to work with them because they're not financially able. So those people still want to look at homes. And so they call people like yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm just wasting a lot of time so far with that, with people calling me and asking me about the house and people coming by and stopping, and I don't really know if they're even qualified.
All right, John. So it sounds like your wife is putting the pressure on you a little bit. Everyone wants to get to Chicago. You're not generating a whole lot of appointments and showings, and you, unlike the vast majority of the other homeowners in the market right now, you're not receiving any contracts.
No, and I see people moving in and out, and I see for sale signs up and under contract here and there, and it's getting kind of frustrating.
Great. So John, it sounds like we should meet in about 15 to 30 minutes. We can meet in person, we can meet on Zoom, whatever you feel more comfortable with. I'd love to meet with you and your wife together. I can show you just some more data about the marketplace and walk you through about a couple of really, really important things that you might not be doing, that if you were doing, could save you a lot of money and could lead to you being more successful. So, John, what's a better time for us to meet?
On my part, any obligation if you come? I'd be just 15, that's all, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, just time right now,
That's
no
all.
obligation right now?
That's all. I'll do it
Okay.
for free for you.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
All right. So is Tuesday at 2 better or Thursday at 4 better?
Sure. Well, Thursday at 4 sounds great. Sure.
All right, John. And just to make sure, I've got a couple of additional questions that I want to go through so that I'm fully prepared. That's when I would pull off my seller pre-approval because it's right here because I'm expecting to have conversations like this because I'm having conversations, right? So if I ask the right questions, I'm going to generate a certain number of deeper conversations like this where I have a potential for an appointment. So I'm simply going to pull out the pre-approval questions and I'm going to rattle them off. Okay. Will all the people be there? Right. Now, I'm obviously not going to ask questions like, have you ever considered selling the home for yourself? Right. Use common sense. But I've got a number of things that I want to make sure I'm clear on. All right. Was that helpful? So what we didn't get, and we'll end with this idea, is that generally at the end of a presentation is when the objections are going to start coming out. Things like, I want to interview another agent, right?
Can I ask one that I get a lot real quick? Do we have time? Okay, well, my uncle, brother's cousin's best friend is a realtor and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so we'll just use him.
Okay, so Heather, I appreciate you bringing that up. Other than your uncle's cousin's brother's best friend being a real estate agent and you feeling like you might have an obligation to give that person the opportunity, is there anything that is preventing us from working together today?
Okay.
Is that,
So, yeah. Well, yeah, my uncle, because he'd be sad.
say that one more time?
My uncle or cousin, whoever I said, because they'd be sad if they knew I didn't use their friend.
Sure. So we want to isolate the objection. Other than blank, 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 is there anything that's preventing us from working together, getting started working together today?
Okay.
Then they would say no. Then that's the only thing that you need to address from this point forward.
Okay.
So you might say, so tell me a little bit about the statistics that your uncle's brother's cousin's sister shared with you about their performance in the marketplace.
Okay. And then if they're like, well, I don't know.
Say, so do you feel obligated to, what's more important to you, satisfying your uncle's brother's cousin's sister, or taking the most money from this sale so that you can get to Chicago and have more down payment for your dream home?
Okay. Yeah. Spin it like that.
Right. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll continue to, do activities like this, forever and ever. So don't forget, please, part of scripts and dialogues is it presupposes there's another human being involved, right? And so they're going to ask you questions about what you do and what you don't do and what they're encountering and what they're experiencing and what they're frustrated about and what they're fearing, right? And our job is to get to their motivation and then help them understand. Like, I spent 10 minutes with John basically making him feel like crap, right? I was getting him to vocalize the fact that all the stuff that he's been doing ain't working. So inevitably during that conversation, he's thinking to himself, man, my wife probably thinks I'm a failure. And she's starting to get pissed. So then I offer the solution. Hey, are you tired of doing this yourself? You told me you're not having fun being a real estate agent. Your wife's already all over you. Let's meet. Sounds like we should meet. Okay?
Hey, Bill.
Don't forget, YouTube channel is completely updated. So go ahead and take a peek at that. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. Don't forget, this is the last time I'll bring it up, but if you have a one-on-one scheduled for Wednesday, for tomorrow, during Bold 100, and you would prefer to do to not have that interruption, let's look at another day and time to schedule that. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing. I love waking up with you guys, so thank you.
Hey, Bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm wondering if you have, so I appreciated the FSBO conversation, and I know Aubrey mentioned, or he had was it top 9 or 10 reasons not to list via FSBO a week or two ago. And is there a document that includes all of those, like just something written that I can
so
refer
right
to?
after that team meeting, so every Tuesday after the team meeting, he sends the slide deck, and it would be in there.
Oh, okay.
I think that was last team meeting. So just go back in your email and check from last Tuesday, and you can see the slide deck and exactly those 9 reasons. So those are things that you could also bring up, like, have you checked with an attorney regarding how you're planning to make disclosures with this property? Right. What's your protocol for screening buyers before you let them into your house?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So those are in there.
I also posted some FSBO scripts in the chat, or in the Google Drive the other day, that has something called the problem presentation on it. The problem presentation, it kind of is something that Heather and I discussed it earlier, which is like, basically, do you know all the extra risks you're taking on, and are you aware of the types of buyers that might come to you? Right.
Okay.
All right, you guys, have a wonderful morning.
Thank you.